Shalom. I am here to cover the RBY series between Troller and Alexander, and it is a special event. I usually don't do RBY because I'm not an expert, but it is going to be a hell of a series between two of the best players RBY's ever seen, so I will explain more in a second. I'm just trying to make sure the stream is working. So please bear with me while I make sure not. Oh, come on, guys, help me out. Alright, so we should be live. So, let me just get all the details. Alright. Yeah, I'm still bad at the streaming stuff, so I gotta figure out how to edit the title and shit. So thank you for bearing with me. This is gonna be a hell of an RBY series. Oh god, this is a bad time for my R key to be fucked up. So, yeah, my keyboard is messed up to the point where R and space are not functional, so just bear with me a second. Once this is a live video, or an uploaded video, then I will, of course, have a timestamp to when the battles begin. God damn it, now my other key isn't working. What was the format I used for the other one? That's a remix I'm going to use later. Oh, 24 watching. Thanks, guys. RBYOU. Alright. This is just my computer that's messed up with a keyboard. I usually use my girlfriend's Mac for general purposes, which is why I don't go crazy all the time. Alright, so yeah, we're good to go. I will give some history lessons in between games, or during the games if there's like a flex stall war. Alright, so here we go. Troller versus Alexander, thank you for bearing with me. I hope everyone who's watching enjoys. We've got the handy dandy damage calc. And I've got my R copy pasted so I can type in Tauros like that. Although TAU would probably be fine, but yeah, I'm going to need to use it more than the space. Okay, so here we go. So, Starmie versus Alakazam. The role of the Psychic type lead is to take sleep if there is a Jinx lead or an Exeggutor lead. And otherwise, against other Psychic type leads, it takes paralysis so that mid-game Exeggutor has its sleep blocked. However, some players like to do what Troller just did in switching to Chansey to not have your Starmie or Alakazam paralyzed. And he's in a bad spot because Zam sometimes just does Zam things. But the idea is that you use Chansey to block sleep, so your Psychic type is still functional. And so Zam got off to a wild start, and this is moving faster than I normally like my games to be paced at for thorough explanation. But So here's what's going on. So he decided he's going to try to preserve Chansey. Troller has a habit of healing his Chanseys up from low HP. He's done it like 3 times this SPL alone. So, and that's rough. And he manages to do it, although his Executor is really battered, and Alex is just staying in and going for it. I realize this is not the most insightful commentary, but God, these guys play fast. Probably because they're so familiar with the tier that they know what to do. So he's going to, well, just blow up the Zam, and it's 6-6, or 5-5 rather, but his Chansey's paralyzed, so he's going to be blocking sleep. So the reason some people don't like Chansey paralyzed is because with the Reflect set, they use it to switch into Snorlax. And when it's paralyzed, then it obviously cannot do that effectively. But since Snorlax really only safely switches into Chansey and paralyzed Alakazam, then you can play around that somehow, because it's not like Chansey gives Snorlax a completely free switch, depending on whatever whatever moveset you're using is. So he's now going to be forced to go to Chansey to block Executor Sleep, lest he lets Snorlax go down, and then he's really boned. So that's a no-brainer. Alex goes for Psychic, just looking for drops. If he's Hyper Beam, which is rare, I haven't seen a good player use Hyper Beam in a long time, then he can bring it down to that range, but he's not messing around. It's hard to switch around Executor safely, so he's just going to blow Chansey up. So the thing when you let your Chansey get blown up by Executor is that you have to deal with A, other Chansey, specifically Bolt Beam, and B, special lasts like Starmie. So Troller was afraid of Bolt Beam Starmie, or Bolt Beam Chansey, which Starmie obviously does not beat, and Snorlax feasts on for the most part, but since he saw its Reflect, then he knows Starmie can stall it out. And he can also even brawl with it by going for Psychic drops, making it way soft-boiled. Now that Chansey is paralyzed, then once it's forced out, it will not be able to switch into Snorlax later in the game. Also reduces its odds against Tauros even if it lands a Thunder Wave later. So, Troller, this is a big mark of good RBY play. They have their plans for each of the various sets that they could face. He has the Chansey strategy, knowing he is not going to be completely boned in case that Executor blows up on Chansey, which it very often will. That's something you have to expect. So at this point, we're seeing just paralysis. It's a big, big factor. So I hope whoever's watching is enjoying this, but this is not the most immediately exciting style of play, but I think it's a great example of what makes these guys great, because Troller's sticking with his plan. It's a good plan, it's working, and Alexander is showing the relentless aggression that he's known for. Troller was giving me a history lesson about how he and Alex rose to prominence in RBY under the tutelage of fellow Italian legend Marco ASD, and Alex learned really quickly and started dominating people with his incredibly aggressive style of play, just going with 4 attack lax every single game. So Chansey's special stat has been slashed now. He manages to get up to full. Now he's going to use his Snorlax to chase down Chansey. Now this SPL, we've seen a lot of Starmies stay in on Snorlax and try to stall it out, and that really sucks because now Starmie's in Hyper Beam range, and he manages to catch it with his own Lax. Are we going to see counter? Because that would be amazing. And no counter, but Reflect. So I was going to say, if Chansey's going to get blown up, you're going to want some, not that this is a rule, but you are going to want some ability to handle other Snorlax, because a lot of people rely on Chansey, so when Chansey's no longer an option, you are still going to have to switch into Lax at some point. But the idea is that your own Reflect Lax can handle it, because the other Lax is only coming in on Chansey, and you will be able to Thunder Wave it on the switch, so it's not that bad. So we see a couple really dumb turns, but Starmie's not in a bad, well, now that Lax is not paralyzed or weakened, but Lapras is. So we don't see Lapras a lot these days, because it kind of tends to struggle with Starmie itself, which sort of blows. but it's potentially really good, especially if you can blow up on the other Chansey. Some people use Lapras to sing Chansey, since some people, the ones that use Chansey to, what's it called, to switch into Snorlax, then they avoid paralysis like the devil, and oh, here's Rhydon. But yeah, if they're avoiding paralysis with Chansey at all costs, and then you can take out their paralyzed Psychic with your Exeggutor, then Lapras has a free Sing, and having the double sleepers is potentially really good for the end game. It's a really nice approach. It's aggressive. Another good thing about Lapras is that it's not completely boned in the event it faces a Zapdos. Because again, take a T-Bolt and respond with a really powerful Blizzard that'll put it in Tauros range. So it being paralyzed from the earlier Lax Body Slam is really helpful, because suddenly it can't turn the tables on Rhydon like it usually likes to. So I'm really liking the teams and approach of both players. Some people might say, you know, it's just regular RBY, but hey, I like it. And now that's big, because suddenly, barring a Blizzard crit here, and, well, he could also go for Earthquake here to hit Starmie harder. That would be a good move. Yup, he knew Troller's not just going to let his Rhydon get Blizzarded, so he goes for Thunder Wave, hits Starmie harder, and now he's going to Brawl, and he gets Tauros paralyzed. So that's huge for Rhydon. Rhydon is now an immense, immense threat, because it dominates Chansey. It thrashes Snorlax, and since I believe it KOs Lapras with Rock Slide from 46. I would be astounded if it didn't. Then suddenly the combination of Rhydon and Tauros from Troller is looking really good, and well, we see a real troll of a turn that turn. So Troller once told me you cannot play like you were afraid of paralysis, otherwise you just won't win. So Alex just staying in and going for it. But I think he's still got a huge upper hand, especially if he gets a sub. Well, he doesn't want to sub spam too much with Rhydon, because then it loses its ability to Earthquake on to take an Earthquake from Snorlax. So he gets a Psychic off, and Tauros finally paras, as Starmie doesn't. So he's in a decent spot, and Tauros goes down. So this is looking good. He's going to have to try to make the comeback with his own Lax, which that was smart to send it in fresh. Cut his losses. It could still be Body Slam, Reflect, Rest, Tauros, or Snorlax, which is a set, but he's going to go right to Tauros to go for crits in the face of a potential Reflect setup, and because he wants Rhydon more. If he can bring Snorlax down, then that would be better, since Rhydon does better against Chansey, since it has sub, and Chansey's already burned 4 soft boiled, which might not seem like a lot. I'm often a little quick to count PP, but it could be crucial in a situation like this. And since it's parried, then he's going to be in trouble with Earthquake to a KOing. And all he's going to need is that one para, and he doesn't hurt back too badly with Seismic Toss. Got a lot of Earthquakes left. Really wants to preserve the Earthquakes. And another reason is because Rhydon kills Lapras. So he's going to sack the Chansey. That's interesting. I thought his... He's going to sack Chansey because Lapras does not die to Hyper Beam. That was badly transitioned, but he's going to sack... He might not sack Chansey because it has a chance to die to Hyper Beam. Good move from Troller. Great move. He's not going to live in Earthquake anymore, but he gets the sub up. Beautifully done. And now he's looking in a position to win. So he leveraged this endgame perfectly. So he's going to Earthquake. We don't even need to look up the calc anymore. But it's looking... No, this was smart by Alex. He threw out the Chansey against the 2 physical Pokemon, brought it low, let Lax finish it off. And now it is up to Tauros, who Hyper Beams to make sure Lax doesn't blow it up. And now he's going to Body Slam, and barring a Sing or a Blizzard Freeze or a crit, then he has it. So that was incredibly well done by Troller. Really well done by Alex, too. And that's a 1-0 lead for Troller. So, yeah, Hyper Beam had a chance to kill. And versus Snorlax, that crit did not matter because it does 40% minimum. Did 32. And just for kicks, we'll see the Rhydon Rock Slide Calc versus Lapras. Lapras is a good Pokemon. And I think Alex's team really brought out its strengths, so that was nice to see. So yeah, he would have done 48 minimum. That was really nicely done by Troller. This is why he's considered the best current RBYer. He was giving me a history lesson which I will recite, if not during the series, then after the series. Just to give everyone a full background on why I'm doing RBY, why this match is so special. So, Alex used to be considered the best RBYer around, and now I think most people would say that about Troller, but both of them have just been monsters, and they really get this tier. I mean, a lot of people give RBY shit, and it can be a frustrating tier, for sure. I mean, RBYers sometimes go crazy. But I think a general rule of thumb is a tier is as good as its players, so, or as the people playing it in any given game. So, and when guys like this are playing it, then they are making it look good. So, Starmie leads. Fun fact about Starmie. A GG fan about 7 years ago, a little less, started using that's interesting, Psychic Blizzard Thunderwave Recover lead back when Gengar was still popular. So he would threaten Gengar really, really hard. And then that set, of course, is also threatened by Starmie. So they're playing at light speed, but I do want to explain what happened on the first turn. So since last game, speaking about the Starmie wall by Starmie, then they started switching, they started going back to Thunderbolt to get the edge on other Starmie who had gotten into the habit of just T-waving and psychicking. So he stays in on Chansey, he can heal it up later, as he's been doing all SPL, and now his Snorlax is in a good switch. He might go for an Earthquake here if he has it to scout for counter, but no, he's going to keep relentlessly body slamming. Maybe he knows Alex isn't a counter guy. The little things can go a long way in such highly contested matchups, but he makes sure that Chansey gets in and heals up yet again. And now the Snorlax is parried, so in the long run, he got out of it. God, watching Troller position himself is a thing of beauty, and watching Alex's aggression is really something else as well. Even though he hasn't been playing this tier consistently for a while, he's been opting more for advance. So that turn one where Troller's Starmie used Blizzard and Alex just T-waved. So in game one, then we saw Troller go to his Chansey on the first turn to absorb Thunder Wave. So some players, to get around that whole Chansey paralysis thing, they started going against people who really like to go to Chansey turn one. They would just double switch to their Exeggutor and get their free sleep against Chansey. So Troller's Starmie would have been put back to sleep because it is the designated sleep fodder. So Troller tried to catch Exeggutor coming in, but Alex just played it straightforward. So might burn him against Tauros later if he's not careful, although that of course depends on the last. Which I am not nearly good enough at RBY to start sussing out lasts, even based on play. Troller had a word or two to say about that. So he's gonna rest up, and Exeggutor usually comes in to threaten Lax with sleep. It's not going to be getting a sleep off in this game, almost surely, because Starmie and Chansey are both paralyzed. But instead, Alex goes just for the Seismic Toss approach and just brings its HP down. So that was really nicely done. And now Troller's Snorlax is on the back foot. So that was very nicely done by Alex as well. He's just relentless. Oh, and he's Amnesia. That's rough. So he's going to absorb it with Blizzard. And if he Amnesias again, the way RBY mechanics work, he's faster now, as you can see there. So now he's really threatening, and barring crits, Starmie's in trouble. So he's just trying to do his best to bring it as low as possible so Tauros can finish it off, hopefully with luck along the way. But he's not getting it, and he goes back to his own Snorlax to try and minimize the damages. If he's Reflect Boom, Boom is going to be used here, and it's going to, if not KO something, since its power is lower in RBY than later gens, then it's still going to do a massive chunk. But he Hyper Beams instead and brings it into Tauros range. So now with Alex's Starmie weakened and, or at least taking a hit, so it's in Body Slam Hyper Beam range and parried, then Troller is going to respond with a Tauros KO. Now, Chansey is very likely going to get blown up again because he can't block sleep with this Starmie, and he goes for an aggressive body slam, trying to get something happening on the psychic, but he instead gets crit dropped, so that really blows. And I guess he felt he was behind enough, or he was certain enough that there was some sort of switch going to be made on the Chansey. Although, if he was predicting Rhydon to abuse Chansey, or I guess he was also trying to take advantage of Double Edge, which would have worked out really nicely, but Psychic was safe either way, because Drop would also be threatening to Chansey since it relies on Bolt Beam for damage. So, yeah, if he was predicting Rhydon, I think he was just trying to take advantage of the obvious Double Edge. If he was predicting Rhydon, he would have just Blizzarded. And Rhydon is the only other Pokemon you would double switch to threaten Chansey from this range, the one it was just at. So, he gets the Double Edge crit. Aggie doesn't crit too much, even though it does have a higher crit rate than in later gens. So he gets Starmie in on the boom. Oh, that was an amazing read. I think a lot of players there were just going to keep soft boiling with Starmie. I don't know how Troller managed to read that he was going to do that there, but he brings in his own Eggy, and he does the exact same thing, Psychicking instead of trying to double edge the Starmie switch. He gets the drop. If he's Mega Drain, nice. Oh my goodness, that was a beautiful move. He goes to Chansey on the Starmie switch and manages to heal it up. It would be, oh, that sucks that it was for nothing. That really sucks. That was an incredible move. He deserved to get something out of that. At the very least, he is really threatening with his Tauros. If he can somehow, well, Chansey is a lot more annoying now, but, well, if he can do that again, then he's good to go, or a para. And he does it. So now his own Exeggutor is looking really nice. So tit for tat. Because now, barring more unfortunate luck, then he's going to sleep something. And that will be really good for Tauros late game. Sleep something, boom something else would be nice. And so he is running double Psychic, and he's going to get full parrot on the sleep. And so Sleeping Zam will be nice because that's another Pokemon faster than Tauros. Thing is, his last has to deal with Chansey somehow, because otherwise a fresh Reflect Chansey is going to beat Tauros one-on-one. Manages to sleep it. If he goes to Chansey here, then, I don't know, I feel like he might go to Chansey here just because Troller's Tauros is so obvious, and Chansey would put pressure on him. Because he can't just go gung-ho, guns blazing with Tauros. I just realized it's at 21%, that's even worse. Although with Starmie 18 and Parad, Zam freshly sleeping, you know, it's something. And it's Rhydon. That's the perfect Pokemon to take advantage of this matchup. He's going to get a KO here. The problem is Reflect Chansey. So if I think Alex definitely sacks Starmie here. And then goes to his, No, he goes right to Tauros on the sub. Great move by Troller to try and nab a sub on the Starmie, but Alex saw right through that, so this is really high-level stuff. Of course, now, barring a crit, Tauros will go down. So the issue really is if Troller can break through the Chansey, which is still fresh. And that's a big if. He might have to go for a Blizzard Freeze. Otherwise, it's going to be down to Explosion Mind Games with Exeggutor. Oh. So he sacks Exeggutor. That's interesting. I didn't expect that at all. So I guess he's going... Yeah, I don't know if that was the right move. I think because all the remaining Pokemon were important because he's down, and giving him the 4-2 advantage gives him sacks to spare and means he has one less tool. I think he had to try and go for it with Rhydon. Alright, so down to Tauros, B-Slam. Surely he sacks Starmie here. Yes, he does. And now in comes the fresh Chansey. So I think he's got to go for a Blizzard Freeze or a Hyper Beam crit. Hyper Beam crit is better because it's more likely. Since Tauros's crit rate, I think it's like a 20% chance factoring in accuracy. Maybe 19 or something. But hey, that's pretty much a Jirachi Psychic Spit F drop. So doesn't get it, and I think this is going to... well, maybe. This is interesting because it really depends on the rolls. So first of all, we want to see how much Blizzard does. So it's going to do 62.4 max, 53 to 62. Whereas Chansey Seismic Toss is going to do 24, so he is going to be put into range by Seismic Toss. Because, yeah, that's definitely more than enough, even with min damage. Thing is that if he subs on the Seismic Toss, then he's in trouble. So the question... Well, no. He just... I thought Reflect was 100% the move. Was it not? I swore it was. I guess he reflects now. Well, now he's going to be shooting for his crit. Yeah, I thought it was definitely the move in case he just... No, Seismic Toss was correct, because in case he just attacks, then you put him in Blizzard range. Well, not 100%, but 90% of the time. So that was a good move. Yeah, so he has one more sub with which he can use after this. So he's got to pray for a perfectly timed crit here, but no dice. No, he's got to sub again or Earthquake on the soft-boiled, and that was a nice aggressive move by Alex, knowing that he could soft-boil even if Troller subbed again. So we're going to game 3. This is some intense stuff. I'm digging it. So really nice stuff on both sides. Whew. That sub as Alex went to Tauros was a really nice move. And he managed to use his 12% Tauros so effectively. God, these guys are so good at this tier. Really make it a treat to watch. So RBY is not going to be in team tournaments anymore. So this SPL is really its last hurrah. So it's good to see. This is why I'm recording this game, because these are the two best players, and who knows if they'll meet in playoffs. So better get it now. Yeah, they've just been pushing the metagame forward, and for their years, for the last 4 years or so. So yeah, this was a great example of how key paralysis is to get onto Chansey, and why some people prevent it from taking para at all costs. I mean, there's the Snorlax factor, but then there's even the being good late game versus opposing Tauros factor, or even Rhydon. So there's that. So very well done on both sides, because they're not making mistakes. They're just trying their best to read each other and position themselves well at the same time. It's a delicate balance. So game 3 hasn't started. I'm not going crazy. Thank you guys for watching. For those of you just joining us, then this will be uploaded into a normal YouTube video immediately after this series. So yeah, this is why paralysis support. I mean, look at the difference between. I mean, look at how much damage Rhydon dished out even here. But look at how dangerous it was with paralysis being spread in game 1, and here where it was a little bit let down. But God, Rhydon is such a strong Pokemon. A lot of I imagine controllers using it. Well, the thing about Rhydon is that it's good. It's amazing against Zapdos. It really is. And Zapdos is incredible. But the thing is that even when there's no Zapdos, as you can see here, it's still a really powerful Pokemon. So it's definitely not a matchup pick. And Zapdos teams, I mean, they obviously don't want to face the rocks, mainly Rhydon, because Rhydon's been established as more consistently good because it doesn't have to rely on explosion to do damage. Since 3 KO Snorlax, 3 KO Slowbro, 2 KO Chansey, those are big marks. And then there's other stuff like putting Tauros into range of other Tauros 2 body slams, I think, with EQ or something like that. Something these guys could tell you in their sleep, but I'm not experienced enough to say that with any sort of certainty. RBY is such an interesting tier. So here we go. Alex is known for his Zapdos spam, but it's not like you're exactly risking much by going right on. Obviously, it wasn't ideal in that matchup since he wasn't able to pair the Chansey. That ended up being the game decider, but still a really good Pokemon. So, Troller finally abandoning his Starmie and going with his own Zam. Some people don't like Zam because it's so chased out by Snorlax, and that can be really abusable, especially because it then takes a lot of damage from Eggy's Double Edge, so it's constantly living in fear, pretty much. But at the same time, Zam is good versus Bolt Beam Chansey, which Starmie is not, and that can be exploitable in letting opposing Chansey go for freezes. Speaking of Chansey going for freezes, Alex decides to para it. Now it can't switch into Snorlax later, and Alakazam is set to dominate it, so that was nice. We see some RBY there with the Psychic Miss. That's a 1 out of 256 chance. Even though it's 100% accurate, that's not its accuracy. Even Earthquake, the 100% accurate move, and Explosion can miss. Yeah, and when Explosion misses, it's funny. Except for the guy using it, then he just cries. Anyway, so that was a great move from Alex. But here you see the downside. By aggressively Thunder Waving the Snorlax switch, he also now is at risk of getting slept by Exeggutor, as Troller immediately abuses. So very, very, very nicely done. Taking advantage of that. Really punishing. He's like, all right, well, if you're going to do that, then I'm going to do this. And he figures Alex is going to get aggressive and not try to block the sleep, but he just goes back to Zam, doesn't get crit, doesn't get parried, and now he's going to go to Snorlax and try it again. He's still going to force the Zam out because if Zam just stays in, Psychic is going to hurt because Snorlax's special isn't that good, but at the same time, it's not going to appreciate the body slam that's then really going to put it in danger of Exeggutor. So Alex playing it straightforward helped him out there very nicely. So, oh man, body slam crits from Lax really, really suck. But he's just forcing him to rest again, get him in a good position. And now he's got his own Ice Beam Lax, which is great because when you're Snorlax and Chansey is trying to stall you out, then suddenly you threaten it with Freeze. It's really powerful. It's also good in this matchup. And he body slammed as Chansey comes in, Troller not wanting to risk it, and he counters the Lax. Oh, Chansey's gonna go down because Tauros is coming in. I don't think he wants to switch Snorlax in, but he gets rid of Alex's insanely threatening Lax. Beautifully done. He was looking on the ropes there, but that's an example of how to really, really turn a game around. And it's what I was mentioning being scouted for earlier in the game, or in Game 1. And what's amazing here is that no one expected counter. I did not notice this because I'm not operating at 100%, but Ice Beam and Thunderbolt generally means T-Wave last. Non-T-Wave Chansey is generally... T-Wave is generally move number 2 on just about every single Chansey after Soft Boiled. And they just all have it. The only time I've ever seen a non-T-Wave Chansey... I'm sure there's been stuff out there, but I remember like Bolt Beam Reflects by Nails sometimes. That was a while ago, but Bolt Beam counter is pretty much never used. So Alex rightly thought, oh, well, this isn't going to counter me because he needs to run Thunder Wave in the last, so I'm in a great spot. I'm just going to keep slamming and putting pressure on him. And so props to Troller. And he booms the Zam, so nicely done by Alex. That was definitely favorable for him because he's still got pretty much the dead Chansey. And he didn't get much for his Tauros. He's going to prevent Exeggutor from getting a sleep off. Threatening to cripple Chansey and going to Tauros. And ideally T-Waving Tauros. So that was nicely done by him. He still threatens sleep with his own Eggy. So that was really smart, actually, because Alex was like, all right, well, I'm going to try and blow up Eggy and put it into Tauros range in case he decides he's going to try and get one up on me with Sleep Powder, but instead Troller doesn't have any of that and goes to Zam. So that was very intelligent. I like that a lot. That was a smart heads-up move on both sides. I mean, Alex doesn't really have a better choice other than giving Eggy a free one, but now he's in good shape. So Zam is definitely poised to dish out some damage with Snorlax unable to come in and punish it. We also don't know the last from either Pokemon. He tries to go for a Sleep Powder on the Egg. That was a smart move. That was really smart. Because if he just tries to go to Chansey to absorb Thunder Wave, then Troller can double switch and go for a Sleep Powder and get that sleep off freely. So that was really heads up by Alex to not allow that to happen. I really dig that. And Troller, unfortunately, was not able to get anything out of staying in. But that was a really smart move from Alex. These guys are really showing us what high-level RBY looks like. I love it. They're showing that RBY can be a great tier instead of nonsense. But then again, every tier can be nonsense if the players playing it aren't really aware of it. So now he's going to... Well, we don't know what he's going to do. He's going to try and pressure the Zam with Seismic Tosses. Maybe get it in Tauros range, but he's not going to commit to T-Waving yet. He doesn't want his Exeggutor... Oh, God, this is rough. His Zam doesn't deserve this. And he's just going straight for the Thunder Waves. He's trying to bait him into T-Waving it so it can block Eggy's Para. And he gets his sleep off. Well, 75% of the time he's going to sleep something. And he manages to nail one on Chansey. And it wakes up immediately because that's something that can happen in RBY. Luckily, it can't attack on the same turn, so... But yeah, he manages to get the sleep off, so now is he going to just boom? Well, he's got the odds. Is he going to go to Zam to try and press an advantage? I think that's feasible. It'd be insane for Alex to go to Tauros here. That would be... No, he's going to go to Chansey, try and wake it up. So less... that was the same idea of doing something against the Zam, but less risk. And now he goes back to Egg on the Tauros. Nicely done. Yeah, so the idea is, since Chansey's sleeping, if he Psychics, whatever. But now he tries... Oh, God. Well, now Double Edge, and he's got the special drop if he wants to keep pressing it that way. So that he can potentially outspeed him even if he gets T-Waved. But he does get T-Waved, so now that means Troller's own Egg will get the boom on it if it so desires, and he gets Hyper Beamed. Oh, okay. Remember when I said most good players don't use Hyper Beam? I guess Alex showed me I don't know what I'm talking about. Though, with the amount of Double Edge prior to that, then I would say I'm still vindicated. Since that was more of a surprise pick, since everyone runs Double Edge these days. So, Hyper Beam does get you in range of stuff. Oh, that sucks. That really blows. This is gonna come down to like some combination of Tauros War and Last War at this point. That really blows. Troller did not deserve that. So, ooh, this is gonna be a rough finish. So you're gonna go to Egg. Does he just give him? Does he just boom for free? If he booms and brings Egg down, then it's Tauros Wars pretty much. Tauros and Last Wars. No, he goes for Psychic, thinking odds be with me, but he doesn't get it. Alex makes the aggressive move because the obvious move is to sack Chansey on boom, but now he needs Eggy to wake up fast. Well, you know, staying in there that really helps, but he's not getting anything. So he doesn't manage to get any value out of his... Oh, that sucks. I mean, he was behind at that point anyway, so that's just adding insult to injury. But nice move from Alex there, rather than just giving him the back foot, or going the back foot and getting Chansey for nothing. So all that he really lost was a couple HP on Egg, and now he can't switch into Tauros, but it's end Tauros War anyway. Or last in Tauros War anyway, but it's looking more favorable for Alex almost no matter what the last is, because he's just got more Pokemon, including fresh Tauros, fresh last, healthy enough Egg to live a hit from anything, even Zapdos Drill Peck, so some bad turns of luck really killed this one for Troller. And he's gonna go to Zapdos. He's gonna put his faith in the bull for the last. Since Zapdos is almost guaranteed to get crippled going down against something, so he's gonna just. I'd imagine he's gonna. Oh, he can't even agility because Chansey wakes up immediately. That bites. So if in the event of a last like Starmie or Zam, then. Well, alright, 3-2. What's the last going to be? It's Jolteon. Oh, that bites anyway. Not that this is the most outlandish scenario a Tauros would have ever won in if it wins. I mean, in theory, this Jolteon's going to get paralyzed. Then, in theory, all he has to do is get one real turn of luck. He has to win the Tauros War and just get, a non-unreasonable turn of luck against Eggy, that being a Hyper Beam crit or a Para, or who knows. So he's just gonna bring the Jolteon down into Earthquake range as best he can. I actually don't know what the Earthquake range is. So nice move from Alex, bringing the Jolt. And Earthquake, actually Hyper Beam does more. He's not gonna switch out of it. So he doesn't get to, well, Hyper Beam KOs, he smartly goes for that rather than risking Earthquake. So I think he goes for Eggy first. So what's the move here? Hyper Beam crit, booms, and that's going to be the game, barring some serious fuckery. So both played really, really well. I don't think Troller deserved to lose the way he did in Game 3, but that was a hell of a series. I'm very glad I recorded it. And I'm sure some more experienced RBYers than I can shed some light on some more crucial turns and why certain decisions were made and how certain turns revealed certain lasts. But yeah, so the last thing I'll do is I'll give a brief recap of why these guys are so good. So, Troller told me about both of them. So, Marco ASD was their teacher, and their mantra is nothing less than objectively never misplaying a turn. So, that's straight from the stallion's mouth. So, Alexander is... Well, let me go back and just read what he's saying. So, it's taught to stay reactive in key turns, find the perfect balance, because if you need so many mind games in a row, you'd fuck something up. And you don't want anything to predict you hard. It's a long search for perfection, understanding what lies behind the curtain before it's even revealed. God, Troller's really a poet, isn't he? So, from how your opponents play, if he's reckless with Egg, his last is probably a Water. I imagine that's to compensate against Rhydon. If he booms Chansey at all, there is no Rhydon. So Alexander started first and reached that state really quickly, and he had an amazing amount of talent. In the span of 4 months from starting RBY, he was already at the top. And so Master Tournaments on Pokemon Perfect, which is where the RBY competition has been for a long time, if you won one of those tournaments, then you were a top dog. And it was the golden era of RBY with guys like Marco and Pisone and Bedshaber and Metalgross and Alex himself. And then Troller would join soon after. But what was amazing is that the Pokemon Perfect circuit operates in seasons, and Alex managed to win all 4 Master Tournaments in the same season, which is just obscene. And you can't even... No one's done that now, even with an overall weaker player base, with guys like Marco and Pisone going away. So he would just rotate between the Waters, the Rocks, and the Zapdoses, and he would do really unexpected stuff, like blowing up his Exeggutor versus a healthy Chansey on the first 5 turns. I misread that. If someone... He managed to read other people's explosions really nicely. He would go to Rhydon as your Exeggutor tried to boom a full health Chansey on turn 5. So it was just an unprecedented level of dominance. Rumors said it was impossible to beat him in a clear set with his signature 4-attack Lax. And the Reflect era of Reflected on Snorlax and Chansey had just started. But he would just still bring Earthquake, Slam, Self-Destruct, and Hyper Beam Lex and just win. Playing it sounded like a better ride-on, and it was the unique of peak. It was peak Alexander's most unique trait, and his Snorlax was public enemy number 1, just always getting 2 kills. So, yeah, and on Smogon, then Alex won an RBY Cup, won in the Classic, so he's just impossible to stop. So as for Troller, then he took a little bit longer to get there, but he was just after some training. Then he went in 2017. He won everything he could imagine on Pokemon Perfect, and you can sift through the seasons on that site if you're interested. But in Pokemon Online Championship League, so the PO SPL, he won 8-1, and most people go, well, who cares? It's just POCL. But he won against all the big names: Alex, Marco, GG Fan, Metal Gross Beds, and then he didn't get drafted for SPL 9, but he was just a monster. And yeah, so yeah, Troller eventually just became known as the best RBYer. Last SPL, just bringing stuff like Articuno, Zapdos teams, and very aggressively exploding with Cloyster and such. And earlier this SPL, he brought a Porygon, just unafraid to do RBY at the highest level and still remain creative. So I'm going to call it there, because this has been long enough. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and big props to both these guys for a hell of a series and a hell of an RBY career. So congrats, and I will catch you next.